everyone and welcome back to my channel. So this is my first proper video on my channel, and as it's the penultimate day in May, I decided that I would do a video of what I read in May. So this is basically just going to outline everything that I read in May, what I thought about it, and what star rating I gave it on Goodreads. The books I read in May vary a lot between library books and also books that I own. I like to try and read library books as much as possible, and it's just a good way to, you know, save the bank a bit because I'm not rich, I can't afford loads of books. As much as I would love to have my own personal library, it's just not feasible. I think libraries are really fun as well for books that you're not 100% sure that you'll enjoy, because then at least I feel like I'm not wasting my money on a book that I then don't like. So I'll start off with the library books I've read, because I obviously don't have the physical copies of them with me because I have returned them. But I decided to reread the Divergent series. So that's Divergent, Insurgent and Allegiance. This is technically a reread because I read it about 10 years ago. When I was a teenager, I loved the Divergent series, but I actually never finished it. I read Divergent and Insurgent, but I don't know why I didn't finish Allegiant, but I just didn't. Me and my housemates wanted to watch the Divergent films, so I wanted to reread the books before I watched the films, because I always tend to prefer reading books before watching the TV or film adaptation of it. I do love a dystopian novel, so I really enjoyed this series. I think I rated all three books 4 stars. Insurgent was my least favourite of the three, just because I felt like it took quite a long time to get into, but I did still really enjoy it. Allegiant had my jaw on the floor. If you have not read Allegiant, because it's very, very different to the film. Allegiant was probably my favourite out of the three because just so much happened. If you don't know what the Divergent series is, it's a dystopian novel series that follows the character of Tris. Tris lives in Chicago, where there is an ongoing experiment where everybody is being sorted into 5 factions. However, there are people who don't fit into just one of the 5 factions, and these people are called Divergent. It's got themes of like war, politics, that sort of thing, and it's just such an amazing read. Much prefer the books to the films though, because they do vary quite a bit. Another series I read this month is the Heartstopper series by Alice Oseman. I have watched Heartstopper on Netflix and I absolutely loved it. It was one of those kind of guilty watches. Me and my housemate watched it and we were just like, doesn't seem like the sort of thing that us 24-year-olds should enjoy, but we actually really loved it. It's just such a feel-good series. Like, there are serious topics that are discussed, but overall it's just such like a heartwarming series. I put off reading Heartstopper for quite a while because, if you don't know, they are actually graphic novels, so it's lots of illustrations with the words as well, so it's really easy and quick to read, but I wasn't sure that it would really be my sort of thing. It took me a while to kind of get used to that, but I did end up really, really enjoying the series. Heartstopper follows Nick and Charlie and their relationship, as well as other issues that they are going through whilst they are in high school. There are some quite heavy topics discussed, especially in the later Heartstopper books, like volume 4 and 5, but the way that Alice Oseman approaches them, I think, is just incredible. It raises a lot of awareness and handles it with a lot of sensitivity, and it doesn't come across triggering in any sort of way. I am so excited for the next season of Heartstopper to come out on Netflix as well. This is one of the ones that I'm actually really enjoy the TV adaptation for it, because it just really brought it to life even more and gave a lot more depth to the characters. Along the same storyline of Heartstopper, I also read Solitaire by Alice Oseman. Solitaire is based on the character of Tori from the Heartstopper series, but this actually came out before Heartstopper. There is a bit of Nick and Charlie in there, but it mainly focuses on the character of Tori, who, to be honest, is probably my favourite character in Heartstopper. I just relate to her a lot. In Solitaire, Tori is trying to discover the mystery of this group of people who call themselves Solitaire, whilst also trying to assist with her brother Charlie, who's going through a hard time. I was really excited to read Solitaire, but unfortunately I did not enjoy it as much as Heartstopper. I have seen that it was one of Alice Osman's first books that she wrote, and you can kind of tell that by the way that it's written. I still really enjoyed the storyline, and I would love to see like either a TV like spin-off show or a film adaptation of it, because I did enjoy the storyline, but I just didn't like the writing as much. I think the thing about this book that made me not enjoy it so much was that a couple of the characters frustrated me, especially Charlie's parents. I know that that's kind of the point, that not everybody understands mental health, but it just aggravated me so much. I also just didn't really think the mystery aspect was that intriguing, but I am used to reading a lot of thrillers, so that might be why. Overall, I rated Solitaire 2 stars. I'm just looking back at my Heartstopper ratings on Goodreads, and I was harsh. I rated volume 1 2.5 stars. I think that's mainly because I was getting used to the graphic novel side of things. I rated volume 2 3 stars because we got a bit more perspective of the other characters, and I really liked that. I rated volume 3 3 stars as I really enjoyed the Paris storyline. I rated volume 4 4 stars. This was my favourite volume by far out of all of them because it really tackled some difficult issues, but in a really good way. I rated volume 5 3 stars, and I really enjoyed the crossover with the events in Solitaire. Another book I read from the library this month is Woman on the Edge by Samantha M. Bailey. This story follows a woman who's waiting at a train station, finds another woman who hands her her baby and then jumps in front of a train. It follows the mystery of why did this woman hand me her baby, who is she, and what is going on? What is the connection between these characters? Me and my housemate both read this. She read it before me and she didn't enjoy it too much. I think she gave it 3 stars, but I really enjoyed this book. I rated it 4.5. It was really fast paced and a complete page turner. I'm pretty sure I finished it in one sitting and I just absolutely loved it. I did predict the twist, but it was still very interesting. Definitely recommend Woman on the Edge. Another book that both me and my housemate read this month was Next of Kin by Kia Abdallah. My housemate loved this book and rated it 5 stars and basically demanded me to read it. This book follows a character who's asked to look after her nephew and take him to nursery, but then the nursery calls the father and asks why the child is not at the nursery. Even though my housemate loved it and rated it 5 stars, I unfortunately didn't love it as much and rated it 3.5. It just really frustrated me, this book. I find that when I don't like the characters, then I just don't enjoy the book as much, and I did not like a single character in this book. They all annoyed me at some point. It was an intriguing book, but the way that it just angered me all throughout just made me not enjoy it as much. The twist was insane. Like there is a really big twist and also a smaller twist, and both of them I was so shocked but also just angry. Like this book made me feel so much, which is a sign of good writing, but unfortunately I just didn't enjoy it very much because it was so frustrating. So now we're finally onto the books that I actually have on my bookshelf that I've read this month. The first one is One of Us is Lion by Karen M. McManus. Don't know if I'm saying that right. I absolutely love a sprayed edge, like I'm obsessed. I have got this entire series somewhere there, along with a couple of the other books that she's written, and I read Nothing More to Tell I think a month or 2 ago and I really enjoyed it, so I was really looking forward to reading this, especially because I've heard so many good things about it. And they've also turned this into a Netflix series, which I am intrigued to watch. I rated this book 3.5 stars. It wasn't as good as I expected after all the hype, but I did still quite enjoy it. I couldn't get into the characters very much. I did kind of like them, but I wasn't like in love with any of them really, although I do quite like Nate. I think the thing that made me not enjoy this book so much was the pacing. It seemed quite long at first, but then quite rushed toward the end. But I do just love books where there's so many secrets to find out about the characters and you just get a lot of depth to them. Also, the twist, I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about it. I still think about it, and I read it like at the start of the month. But I'm still intrigued to see where the rest of the series goes. Another book I've read this month is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Why did I create a channel when I don't know how to say authors' names? This book follows the character of Alicia, who shot her husband in the head 5 times and has not said a word since the incident. I had seen this book recommended so much and I was desperate to get my hands on it, but I could not find it anywhere. And then when I finally found it, I just had to pick it up. It was like £3 or something in the Works. I am obsessed with the Works. The twist in this book is absolutely insane. I loved it. Rather than lots of little twists like you'd get in a Freida McFadden book, this had one big twist, which I did really enjoy, but I tend to prefer to have lots of little twists throughout the book to kind of keep me engaged. It was definitely worth sticking with it though for that twist because it was genuinely insane. I rated this one 4 stars. Talking about Freida McFadden, I read The Locked Door this month. I read this after reading Solitaire because I was feeling in quite a bit of a slump, so I wanted something fast-paced, a nice thriller with lots of twists, and I can just always count on Freida McFadden for that. This story follows Nora, who, when she was a child, didn't realise that her father was killing women in her basement. Then, as she's older, she has to deal with the fact that she is her father's daughter, and it's just such a good book with lots of twists. I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to spoil it, but I definitely recommend this book and I rated it 5 stars. I actually haven't found a Freida McFadden book yet that I haven't rated 5 stars. Another book I read this month is Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kuang. I'm so sorry, I'm definitely butchering these names. I'm really scared to talk about this book because I feel like so many people are obsessed with it and I just wasn't. I rated it 3.5 stars and I did enjoy it, but like I mentioned earlier, when I don't like a character in a book, I find it really difficult to enjoy it as much. This book was definitely a page turner. Like I really wanted to find out what was going to happen, but I just hated the main character and her actions so much. This book is about a writer called June who isn't really succeeding in her career and is very jealous of Athena, her friend who is a writer who's very successful. But when Athena dies, June steals her work. This book, honestly, was unlike anything else I've ever read and it was really interesting. But again, I can't get into a book as much when I don't like the character, and I know that's the point, that you're not really supposed to agree with her actions, but it just frustrated me. I really enjoyed the ending of this book because I feel like the stakes got a lot higher. I just felt like it was very strange to enjoy this book but also be really annoyed by it. Yeah, please don't hate me for rating it 3.5 stars. So the last books I'm going to talk about that I read in May is the first part of the Shatter Me series by Tahiri Mafi. My boyfriend got me the entire Shatter Me series for our anniversary and I was so excited. I've been wanting to read this series for a while after seeing Hayley Pham rave about it, and I see what people mean by the first book isn't the best. It's another dystopian future novel like your classic Hunger Games, Divergent, but it is based around a girl whose touch can kill. This book definitely sets up for the rest of the series and I still really enjoyed it even though it wasn't the best read. I also love how quite a few of the lines are crossed out in this book to kind of show the characters' thoughts that they don't actually want to feel. So this month I read Shatter Me, which is the first book in the series. I read Unravel Me, which is the second book in the series, and also Unite Me, which has 2 novellas in it, Destroy Me and Fracture Me. Destroy Me is set after Shatter Me and Fracture Me is set after Unravel Me. I really love novellas, especially when they're from the POVs of different characters that you don't get in the main stories, because I just feel like it adds so much depth. I really enjoyed Destroy Me, getting a bit of like Warner's perspective and everything that he's gone through. Fracture Me I didn't enjoy as much just because I felt like it really was repetitive of the events in Unravel Me and didn't actually add that much from Adam's perspective. I am just so excited to carry on with this series and I might do like a reading vlog of the rest of this series, so let me know if you want to see that. With Shatter Me I rated it 3 stars. The Destroy Me novella I rated 3 stars. Unravel Me I rated 4 stars. And the Fracture Me novella I rated 3 stars. So those are the books that I read in May. Thank you so much for watching. I love this time of the month where I get to kind of evaluate all the books that I read and get to pick out the next books I'm going to read for the next month. So I'm really excited to go and do that. Click subscribe if you want to see more book videos, and I'll see you later.